Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Fusion Unplugged. This is a podcast where we talk about Oracle Fusion and everything in and around Oracle Fusion. I'm very excited today to have my friend Vinod on the podcast. We'll be talking a lot about Oracle Fusion reporting. So, without further delay, let me introduce and welcome Vinod to the podcast. Vinod, good morning and welcome to the podcast.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Nice, nice.
very happy to have you on the podcast. And I'm doing this after a long time, so it's a good timing, and you know what's happening behind the scenes, but it's a good
Yes,
timing to talk about this. And I'm very excited to restart the podcast as well. Um, so maybe we start with yourself. Let's talk
sure.
about yourself, your experience, what you do, and then we can dive into reporting in Oracle Fusion.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah, I have around 18 years of experience in Oracle. So I started with PeopleSoft and I worked in PeopleSoft for about 10 years. And then, as always, like people move from PeopleSoft or EBS to Fusion or Workday, I took the Oracle Fusion path. And then at that time, my company was also transitioning from PeopleSoft to Oracle, and I got to know about Fusion that way. And then I started working on Fusion, and about 8 years work mostly on the technical side of Oracle Fusion. Say anything about integration, say anything about um, reporting. So I worked in Fusion, and I'm currently doing IT consulting and working with multiple clients on multiple projects with multiple domains, and mainly focusing on the technical side of all the implementation.
Awesome. That's great. So, Vinod, why don't you tell us where you're based out of?
I'm in New Jersey, in Monroe, in United States.
Okay, awesome. So, people who don't know Vinod has created an awesome utility tool, whatever you want to call it. It's called PyCube, and we'll talk about PyCube in a little bit. But you're being very humble. You didn't mention about that, but Py, PyCube is a tool that I use a lot, and I have employees work for me. I've introduced PyCube to them, and even the subcontractors that I work with, I've introduced PyCube to them, right? So it's an awesome utility. So we'll talk about that.
Sure.
Okay. So today's focus, I think we want to talk about Oracle Fusion reporting mainly. So maybe I'll start with you. What are your primary tools of, from a reporting perspective? What do you mostly work on?
So I mostly work on the Fusion side. And so for Fusion, we usually use the BI publisher or OTBI, right? So that's the primary tool for reporting, and then primary tool for um, sometimes integration
Yeah,
to
yeah.
pull
True, true.
to pull data from Fusion. That's easiest way of just write some queries and pull data and then pass it through the pipeline. And but yeah, so BI Publisher and OTB.
Okay. So you mostly don't work with Financial Reporting Studio and SmartView.
Yeah, yes, that's right. So when I started, like meaning I started Fusion journey with ERP and EPM, right? So
Mm,
I worked in ERP and EPM for about 2 years, and then I transitioned to HCM. So I primarily work in HCM now,
okay.
and a little bit of ERP here and there, not full blown implementation.
Okay, awesome. So we have four main tools. I guess five, if I
Yeah.
consider HCM extracts as well.
Oh yes.
Um, right. So did you consider HCM extract as like a reporting tool or?
HCM extract, I wouldn't consider reporting. So I consider reporting tool as customer facing. So I want customer to go click a button or run
Mm,
something to
mm, right.
visualize data or extract data, right? HCM extract is user can do it, but then they need to hop through multiple steps to run. Run is one thing, and then download the data, and it's not on the screen display of data.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can use it for extract data, but I would consider that mainly for HCM integrations.
Right. So even for us in Oracle EPM for the workforce module, workforce
Hmm.
planning, we connect to Oracle HCM, and out of the box, it uses the HCM extracts to pull the employee information, the job information, the employee properties and stuff. So I know it works for integrations for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so all these user entities, they are kind of well tuned. So sometimes for BIP, we have to write SQL. So we
Yeah.
might tend
Yeah.
to write inefficient SQL, but that doesn't happen with HCM extract, you know. So extracting large volume and then extracting changes file, HCM extract is the best option.
Okay. So going back to, I was just mentioning about BIP, OTBI, FRS, and SmartView.
Yes.
So people who are used to Oracle EPM is, they're good with Financial Reporting Studio and SmartView because it uses the Space cubes behind the scenes and then HCM extracts. And one of the other things that people bring about is REST APIs, right?
Yeah.
That's another one that I see a lot of people, because I've seen people use, obviously, if you're tech savvy, you can use Python, and you can have a Jupyter notebook, and
Yeah.
you can have all of that stuff. But I've also seen people use it with Power BI. Right? You could
Yeah.
invoke a REST API, get the information, use Power BI with it. So those are some of the things that I consider as reporting.
And
Now,
yeah, I worked in EPM and a little bit worked in SmartView. Tell me, do you mind telling me a little bit more about the FRS and SmartView?
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so the concept of, so let's first talk about ERP versus EPM, right?
Okay.
So EPM uses, well, most of the EPM applications use multi-dimensional database, right? And ERP, HCM, everything uses relational database. So FRS and SmartView is a way for you to visualize data which sits in multi-dimensional database. For our case, it is Essbase. So prior to Fusion, I think there was a financial statement generator which was available in EBS. But FRS kind of allows you to, in Fusion, we have a cube. So cube is where you can summarize data, roll up data in a much more efficient way, because it is calculated and stored at every level possible in the cube, right? So you can pull that information out. And if, let's say, you have 10 revenue accounts, all rolling up to, let's say, total revenue, if you were to write a SQL query, we will use a group by and sum and all of the kind of stuff, right? So we need to do it at runtime. When the query executes, we need to do that calculation. But in Essbase, it is already calculated and stored at that level. So when you pull total revenue, it's not going into the database and calculating and coming back and saying, okay, this is the amount, right? It's already calculated and stored. So that's why it is much, much faster in terms of reporting. But basically, it makes sense more for financial reports, right? Not for your operational reports. It's meant to help you with your income statements, balance sheet, those kind of statements. Obviously, there is drill down from the statements back into GL. All of that stuff is available. But the key point is the best way, the most efficient way to use SmartView and FRS is if you have a hierarchy built in your GL. So if you have a flat list of accounts, flat list of company, chart of account segment, it's not going to help much. You can still run the report, but it's not going to help much, right? So one of the key things that we need to consider is, having those hierarchies set up in Oracle Fusion. So now you have a logical structure that you can use in your financial reports and SmartView. So more meant for finance folks and more meant for summarized reporting for financial statements. That's how I would look at it, yeah. So yeah, when this was introduced, people in EPM, for the first few years, they didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
Then when they came to know about it, they're like, oh, okay, we could do reporting in GL. So that was a revolution, which was good. Okay, I had a question for you. There's this question about OTBI versus BIP. I think we both know the answer to this. When do you use OTBI? When do you use BIP?
So I always go back to that question, should I always use BIP because I'm very comfortable with BIP and running my
Exactly.
own query? But then we have two, like if there is a simple report and if it is just one specific need, no complex logic within that report, and if it's just pulling and viewing the data, I think OTBI should be the way to go. And in OTBI, you have subject areas. If you're crossing subject area, then I would say I would stop there. And if it is within subject area, then I would, within subject area, whatever attribute that you could use within that subject area, I would build all the reports out of that. And I can add some formulas to build some complex logic, but then I wouldn't go crazy with OTBI. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I see is, like you mentioned, I do a lot of trainings on fusion reporting. When I teach users and end users about OTBI, they kind of feel empowered that, okay, I can do
Yeah.
this reporting. Then they think about all the complex reports that they can build. Oh, I need this information from AP. I need this information from procurement. I need this information from projects. And they think, oh, I could just bring all these subject areas
So
together and start reporting, right? So, which is not the case. I
that's
mean,
right.
you can, but the moment I see more than two subject area, I'm like, okay, done. Like
Yeah.
you should kind of stop there, right? Yeah, so fair point, OTBI. But the good thing I like about OTBI is for end users, visualizations and
Yes.
building formulas is very, very easy to do, right? Even the
Yeah.
dashboards, they can
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much build on their own.
Yeah.
And the
It's
other
it's
thing is it takes care of security
that's right.
by default. Yeah. Yeah, you were saying drill down, I'm guessing. You were
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
say,
drill down. So you can drill down to view more data, right? And then it's just drag and drop, and then you have yeah, that yeah that it's good for end users. Yeah, good for
yeah,
end users. Like if you want to give a business user to quickly visualize the data that they have access to, it's a good tool, and it's good to train them so they feel empowered to see
yeah,
what they need.
definitely. So I usually think about, is there an OTPI subject here I can use? First thing, when somebody comes to me for reports, I'm like, is there an OTPI subject here I can use? That's the first thing I think about. If I can use that, that's the way I would go. If not, then I think about it. You know what? Maybe this has to be a BIP report. Yeah, and I try to push the user itself. You know what? There is a subject area. You can build it yourself. I can show you how to build it. And then if they're not comfortable, that's when I say, okay, I'll build it for you. I think, yeah, that's how you look at it. Okay. So I want to spend a little bit time about BIP because that's what PyCube was built for. Now, I have complained a lot about the UI of BI Publisher, the data set.
Yes.
It's just, I don't want to say horrible, but I don't mind using that word.
Yep.
The UI, I mean, yeah, so I have a lot of things to talk about it, but I will let you talk about your experience working with the online data set editor, modeler, whatever you want to call.
Yeah. So our class, this small window, that it's just not you and I, right? It's whoever sees that, do I need to write a query in that small window? And how do I
Exactly.
execute? Like, okay, so I save it and then go to view and then run it. And if I need to modify, I come there.
Come
I need
back.
to search where is that small where clause that I wrote. That so that's always the case. And people always come from EBS background or PeopleSoft background with writing queries left and right against the
Yes,
database, right? So they used to have a SQL developer
yeah,
or
SQL.
Toad, right? So
Yeah,
coming from that background, seeing the small window throws them off. Okay,
yeah, for
so
sure.
and that's the same thing for me, right? So, I mean, I live and breathe SQL developer, writing queries, and then when I
Yeah,
switched to Fusion, and I liked everything. Where do I need to write query? Within the small window, That's kind of what my experience was, and I was not alone. A lot of people felt the same thing. And then I hear Oracle. From some people, like Oracle is trying to improvise, but then I'm not believing until I see it.
I think so. Sometimes when I talk to the client's IT team, they would want to see the sequel, and then I'm like, zoom in like 150% and show, okay, this is what I want. It's so funny. Yeah, it's so funny. There's no validation, there's no syntax highlighting, there's no line numbers. There's just, yeah, I'm amazed at why there's no Oracle built-in utility for all of these things, right?
Yeah.
So now let's talk about PyCube. Okay, so I'm just gonna open up PyCube, but you can start talking about it. Um, let's just talk about PyCube and why you created it, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. So when I started initially submitting, I was more working on debugging stuff, right? Like, I need to see why an AP invoice is not paid, or what is the payment. So I need to go through all these OTBI. It is good, but then it is also always you need to drag and drop what subject area and what attributes that you want. And I was looking for some sort of querying capability. I mean, at that time there was a tool, and it's called there were multiple tools,
There are
right?
multiple.
But there were
I
multiple
think the
tools
main
to
ones were SQL Connect, Cloud
yeah,
Miner.
Cloud Miner. Yeah, yeah. Meaning I was using them. I was surprised. Meaning Oracle says you can't pull data, but how are these tools pulling data from Fusion? I was very surprised, and it was a light bulb moment. And then I was trying to see how can they do this, and then that's when, after doing some research and then doing something, and found these SOAP APIs that you can use to invoke. I started it, and then I kind of built my own data model, and then it was a light bulb moment for me. And then initially I started with Python and PyTinker. The Tinker library comes with the
Library,
Python.
yeah.
The UI was terrible. You can run in only one query at a time. And
Yeah.
then we were using that internally across our organization. So to run queries, there were no highlighting, just put the SQL, better than the Fusion one.
Of course.
Big screen, multiple connections. Then I wanted to see if I can improve it. And then my friend and I were discussing, and I said, okay, I'm going to build something called Data Fusion Studio. That's a mouthful. He said, no. He's Dayakar Banala. So he said, no, you can't use this big name. Think something small. When I was using, I used a lot of data frame libraries. I used pandas
Yeah.
and I used polars. Yeah,
Yeah.
the polars inspired me to come up with something small. Like then I searched for the first thing we do, right? Search for domains. If the domain is available,
Names.
if the domain is available, I was having multiple options. Then PyCube was available, and then it was also like short, and I was able to get a very small domain like PyData. Initially, I was using, instead of pycube.com, I was using that, but then there were some restrictions across multiple countries to not having .be, so I had to eventually switch to PyCube. So that's how. But then I it started from a small PyTinker I did multiple iterations. I tried using Electron.js, and I used a lot of other tools, but then finally went back to Python, built everything in Python. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that I use this every day, right? Every day,
Nice.
because I work a lot on reporting, so I use this every day. It's so much easier to connect to Oracle Fusion.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to debug issues. Syntax highlighting is such a big thing, right? Because for us
That's
to
right.
see, am I missing a comma, or is the dot a comma? And if you go into Oracle, data model editor, and it doesn't really make sense if it is a dot or a comma. It's hard to figure out, right? So all of those little issues that we have is all friction for us when we create reports and data models. So this PyCube kind of helps with eliminating all of that, right? So I use this a lot. I'm very, very happy with this.
Thank
The
you.
fact that you kept it free for everyone
Yeah.
to use is another, a great thing, right? Because I know SQL Connect is, it's obviously paid. Cloud Miner is paid, and I'm sure like there are other products available there which are also paid options, right? So what are your plans for PyCube?
Plans for PyCube, like whatever is available now for free will
Yeah,
remain free. I don't want,
yeah,
it'll not, but I don't. I mean, I have some plans, but then currently I'm not in a position to execute anything between my work and between my
yeah,
family. But then what I'm currently doing is whenever I get a bug report, I fix and then release a version, and that's my short-term plan. And then in the long term, I was planning to add few more features like configuration migration, and yeah, main thing is the configuration migration. But then I am still yet to plan that. Um, but then it'll stay as is, like how you see now, and I will fix the bug and I will improve a little bit here and there on the UI and the performance. But then other than that, it'll stay as is.
yeah, yeah. Great, great. So I want to say a big thank you to you because I was working on something similar, and you have provided so much information for me
Yeah.
to work on work on the application that I'm working on, right? Because I was kind of lost on some areas, especially on the web services. I didn't even know there was a public report WSS service
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
I was always going back to the old version. And one of the things that I don't like is these web services are not really, people are not aware of this web service. Yes, there are few that are available, but some of them we are not aware of it. But yeah, I owe a big thank you to you to, honestly sharing your knowledge, right? Because some people don't do it. They want to keep it with themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm probably building something similar to PyCube, right? So,
Yes. Yeah.
especially when it comes to that, we're like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to give you information because you're going to build something similar to mine. So I'm really, really appreciative, thankful, whatever you want to say, that you helped me with all the questions I've had so far. So big thank you, big thank you.
And
Um,
if feasible, I would make PyCube open source, but I'm not doing it deliberately. I don't want to share my code to the public
yeah,
so they can
yeah,
know what's happening behind the scene. They can hack or do something.
right,
I
right,
don't want
right.
to do that. If someone asks questions about it, I will share. I'm happy to share this. Share a snippet of whatever I do.
Yeah. I just want to say like one thing which we didn't cover on the PyCube. There's a feature which lets you migrate report
Mm-hmm.
from one instance to another, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if people use this, but I know it's there. Migration of reports in and data models in Oracle Fusion seems very, I don't know, archaic, very old
Yeah.
style.
Yes. That's right.
It's
That's right.
yeah, it's like I know like people have built a CI/CD pipeline and all that kind of stuff, um, to do the migration. I know there are clients who use Azure as
Mm-hmm.
a way to back up the data models and then migrate the latest one. So things like that. Yeah, I have some ideas in terms of versioning. I'm still
Yes.
figuring it out, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's
It's
something.
And I also tried, and it's very tough to version because it's if you think about it, it's just a catalog file. It's not a
Right.
text file that you can version and track the changes. I tried that, and I'm still trying it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, I think
what I do is like when people migrate, I take a backup of their code, put it in a
yeah,
backup folder within their
yeah,
user profile, and then
yeah,
migrate just in case they want to roll back.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's fine. I think um what I've seen is behind the scenes, it's an XML file anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I'm thinking is you could extract that XML and that's what you can version.
That's
So
right.
then you can do the diff, what changed and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm thinking. Directly use GitHub as a versioning tool.
Yeah.
Use, I guess, store both, like the XTM and XTMC files, whatever, but also the XML with it. So you can diff. Yeah, okay.
Nice.
All right. What else do you want to talk about in terms of reporting?
Yeah, and I like your other tool where you explore, explore, and explore BIP or
Yeah,
reporting area, and then view the SQL behind the reporting.
yeah,
I liked it so much, and now I don't have to go to Fusion at all to see the query.
yeah. I mean, usually that's what I used to do. Change the file to .zip, open it, look at the
Yeah,
XML, right?
yeah.
So this tool kind of gives you that right away. You just select and you can see that information. I think these are like things that helps us developers
Yeah.
to speed up our process analysis, whatever you want to say, right? So yeah, that was a light bulb moment for me too. Yeah, I was like, I've used this, I do this. Why not build something that
Yeah, that's right.
everyone can
Yeah.
use? I think the natural extension to that is if I'm thinking similar to what you're thinking about PyCube, I'm thinking more from, hey, can I include like visual report builder? Because we have the XML, we know the groupings. So a simple visual editor which will generate the RTF for you. Just the
Yeah.
RTF, nothing else. And then they can, make changes to the RTF itself. So I have a working version of that, and normal extension to that, I also included like a document generation. So you have the XML. So now you're able to, because you can get the list of values, you can get the parameters, you can get the dependent parameters, you can get the column tables and the columns, right? All of this information is available. So my natural thought was, can I use this to create a technical design document? Not everything, but it will give you a list of values, parameters, the table and column list. So all of that. So the tool can help with generating those. That's something that I'm working on too. So we'll see how well that goes.
That's great. That's great. And yeah, and I
Yeah.
see a lot of similar to in the fusion space recently, and that's good to see.
Yeah, I
A lot
know,
of different
like
ideas.
exactly. And like Sergey, I know you know him probably on LinkedIn. That was another tool that I used, dbeaver extension to connect to Oracle Fusion. That's a pretty good one. I know he has another one which is more MCP server for
Okay.
Oracle Fusion. I haven't tried it yet. He did show me. He's also like amazing. Like, ask him a question, he's willing to share his knowledge. So I had a Zoom call. He showed me how to chat with Claude, and the
nice.
Claude connects to the MCP server and builds out the query for you, right? At least the
Really?
version 1 for you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Like there are a lot of good tools available for us now. I wish tools were like this were available back in the day when we started. Yeah, I think there's also a Visual Studio VS Code extension,
Okay.
which lets you connect to Oracle Fusion. Yeah, so a
Nice.
lot of good things happening in
Yeah.
the space.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. How do you see any enhancements that you would like to see in, I guess, BIP? Or like one of the things when we started out was there was no way to, this is 2014, okay? I'm talking 2014. There was no way to mark a parameter as mandatory, right? That was a small thing, but they introduced it. And like that, is there some other enhancements you think would be good for BI publisher reports?
The way it is right now, it is working for almost most of the use cases. Just that UI. Yeah, just that UI. The
Yeah.
UI, Oracle is moving towards Redwood. I hope they have plans to move the BI editor as well
Okay.
to
Yeah.
Red Bull, but that's the main thing. And another thing is like, so yeah, I mean, I totally agree to have sample set of 200, but if they have some sort of if they increase that limit and have it a configurable number, I think people could use the tool directly instead of external tools.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things is the view.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have, let's say 500, whatever that is, the view is not that great, right? Because
Capable, yeah.
once you view it, it's either XML or table, but in the table, you can't do any filtering,
Yeah.
none of those. So it's kind of not useful as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess maybe that's what they're like, okay, 200 is enough.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Let's not,
Yeah. Yeah.
cool, very
Yeah.
cool. All right. Okay, so anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I'm good. I'm looking for your new tool and and then like I want to use the new tool, like being how I already tested a few features and it is more efficient than what I built it, and I want to see more
Well,
of that.
you
Yeah.
have well, thank you for that, but you have a big contribution in building that tool. So, so
Sure.
yeah, I'm almost done with it. Like, I wanted to introduce like formula columns
Okay.
in the grid, which is done. But after I did that, I was like, I had another idea. I'm like, okay, I should, I should do that also. So, hoping I can release it by June 1st. That's my
Nice.
goal. But I will give it to you tonight to test anyways. Yeah, I think I was also building the website. I was also, like you mentioned, we need to get the code signed. So I
Yeah.
was working through that. Auto updater, I'm gonna probably defer it to the version 1.5 or something.
Okay.
Right? Because yeah, I'm not gonna do any major updates in between. But let's see how that goes. What else was there? Yeah, I have some big plans for that. Yeah, I don't want to. I'll tell you in
Yeah.
person,
No.
in private, what I'm
Sure.
thinking.
Yeah. Sure. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, some big.
Awesome.
All right,
Awesome.
Vinod, thank you so much. Before
Thank
we
you so much.
conclude,
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. Okay, you do dev, you do tech. What other things do you do? Do you have any passion like photography or something like that?
Yes, I play a little bit of guitar and I take sometimes my guitar out. Last 1 year I didn't touch it, but then that's one thing. Now, whenever I get some time, I just uh, um, go with my family,
Yeah,
take care of
yeah,
my kids. So
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
main
for
thing
sure.
for me right now. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Like, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. If I ever be in New Jersey, I will definitely catch up with you. Yeah. Yeah. This has been good. Um, Vinod, I appreciate your time, and like I said, I appreciate all the help that you gave me to build my tool.
No problem, no problem. Anytime.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So we'll catch up another time on the podcast. Have a great weekend, and thank
You
you.
too. Thank you.
All
Thank you so
right.
much. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.